Picture this. A storm is just hammering New Orleans General Hospital. The whole place smells like rain and disinfectant and fear. Nurses are rushing everywhere, thunder's rattling the windows, and right in the middle of all that chaos is this tiny 6-year-old girl looking more lost than anyone. And her voice, man, it just cuts through all that noise with this one desperate plea for anyone to love her mother. That's Anna Carter. Her whole world just got turned upside down, and she's clutching her mom's pink jacket like it's the only thing left that makes any sense. See, just moments ago, she'd watched them wheel her mom, Monica, through those ER doors. A warehouse ceiling had collapsed on her. But now, nothing. The minutes are stretching into hours, and nobody will give this little girl a straight answer. So you gotta understand, the situation was just bleak. Anna's all alone, her mom is fading, and the staff is completely swamped by the storm. And then, the real gut punch. Anna overhears 2 doctors whisper this one word that just poisons everything. Underinsured. She's just a kid, but she knows exactly what that means. They aren't trying hard enough. But then, she hears something. A whisper between 2 nurses. A name. Hale. A guy who apparently still owns half the hospital's funding board. A man whose voice, they say, could move mountains. Now, for a 6-year-old girl with absolutely no one else to turn to, that name? Well, that name is everything. It's the only hope she has. And as her mom always told her, courage is just fear that knows where it needs to go. So with just that name as her guide, Anna, with this look of determination you wouldn't believe, marches straight for the elevator. She's not going to just sit there and wait anymore. She's going to find the man who moves mountains. Okay, so the legend of Ethan Hale, this guy was a titan, a man who basically built this city. But the reality Anna finds up in the VIP suite, it's a ghost, a man who's been trapped in a wheelchair for 2 years after an accident, just staring out a window, completely convinced his life is over. So when Anna finally gets in front of him and begs for help, this is what he tells her. Just total, complete defeat. This is a guy who'd built bridges, and now he thinks he can't even make a phone call. He was just done. But here's the thing. Anna wasn't seeing a broken man. She just saw someone who was hurt, just like her mom. So she walks right up to his wheelchair, looks him dead in the eye, and she is not taking no for an answer. She doesn't care about his past. She doesn't care about his injuries. She just needs him to help. And when Ethan tries to give her the runaround, saying he doesn't have the same power anymore, that people don't take his calls, Anna just cuts right through it all with 5 simple, devastating words. It just knocked the wind right out of him. He was the only one left. And you know what? He actually agrees to try. He gets down there, he confronts the doctors, he uses that old authority he thought was gone, and he forces them to get a surgeon for Monica. But right as they get that tiny victory, the night decides it's not done with them. Not by a long shot. And then everything just goes sideways, fast. The power cuts out, Monica's heart monitor starts to flatline. But Ethan, he remembers the emergency bypass system he designed himself years ago. He gets Anna to help him reroute the power, and just in time, he saves her. But the second her heartbeat is steady again, a new alarm starts screaming through the ER. Fire. And of course, it's in the worst possible place, the 4th floor pediatric wing. 32 kids are trapped up there, the elevators are out, the only way to get to them is the stairwell. And this is the moment everything hinges on, because that stairwell wasn't just a bunch of stairs to Ethan. It was the place his life ended 2 years ago. The exact spot where the concrete gave way, where his bones shattered. It was his greatest fear, made real. And he whispers it, almost to himself. The question that had kept him a prisoner in that chair for 2 long years. The absolute terror of trying only to collapse again. The weight of that failure was just crushing him. And Anna, she doesn't even hesitate. She gives him the only answer that could possibly matter. It wasn't about not falling. It was about knowing someone would be there to help you get back up. Her faith in him was just absolute. And with those words, it's like something just snaps inside him. He sets the brakes on his wheelchair, he grabs the rail, and with his legs shaking like crazy, he pushes. The entire ER goes dead silent as Ethan Hale, the man they all thought was finished, gets to his feet for the first time in 2 years. What happens next is just a miracle born from fire. They climb into the smoke together. Child after child, Ethan carries them out of those burning rooms, his legs screaming at him. And Anna, she was his guide, his scout. Every single time he stumbled, she was right there, whispering, "Don't fall, Mr. Hale," holding him up with nothing but her words. So that night, a night of just fire and fear, it ended up forging something totally new. By the time that last kid was safe, the first little bits of dawn were coming through the windows. The storm was over. And right as the sun comes up, they get the best news they could have hoped for. The surgery was a success. Monica was stable. She was alive. Anna just bolts to her mother's side. And Ethan, he just stands in the doorway, watching this reunion that he helped make happen. So later on, when he's facing this mob of reporters, Ethan makes one thing crystal clear. He tells them he wasn't the hero. He points right to this little 6-year-old girl standing next to him, and he tells the whole world that Anna saved him, in ways he was only just starting to figure out. And back in Monica's room, it's quiet again. And Anna looks from her mom to the man who walked through fire for them, and she asks this simple, huge question. So what's the big takeaway here? You have a broken man, a desperate mother, and a little girl who just refused to quit. They found each other in the middle of a storm, and what they discovered was that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about who's willing to walk with you through the fire and who's there to help you stand again.